Welcome to the Taken Hour, Bedtime Stories. Before we drift away tonight, remember to subscribe and allow yourself to be taken by the calm of the cosmos. Now, close your eyes. The story begins in the quiet hours past midnight, in a place defined by hushed tones and rhythmic beeping. It is the recovery ward, a space suspended between alertness and deep rest. The air is cool, smelling faintly of antiseptic and clean linen. Outside the window, the city lights are blurred monoliths, distant and unimportant. Inside, the world is reduced to the immediate circle of a hospital bed, where a boy lies untethered from the day's events, floating in the hazy aftermath of surgery. Consciousness comes and goes like a slow tide. The boy's body feels heavy, distant, as if it belongs to someone else. It is a landscape of dull aches and strange numbness, wrapped in bandages that feel too tight. The anesthesia still hums in his ears, a white noise that masks the quiet footsteps of nurses in the corridor. He is safe, he knows this, but comfort is a faraway concept. He drifts on the surface of sleep, unable to fully submerge because of the persistent, throbbing reminder in his side where the surgeons did their work. Time has lost its shape here. In the visitor chair by the window, his mother is asleep. She is curled uncomfortably, her breathing shallow and even. In the dim light coming from the hallway, her face looks younger, smoothed by exhaustion. Seeing her there anchors the boy. He wants to call out to her, just to hear a familiar voice, but his throat is dry, and the effort feels monumental. Besides, he doesn't want to wake her. She needs the rest. He is alone in his wakefulness, watching the dust motes dance slowly in the sliver of light cutting across the room. The silence of the ward deepens as the night stretches on. The occasional squeak of shoes on linoleum or a distant telephone ring only emphasizes the quiet. The boy tries to find a comfortable position, shifting millimeters at a time, but the bed feels harder now, the sheets rougher. The dull ache begins to sharpen, a persistent tugging that pulls him further away from sleep. The machines around him seem to beep a little louder, a monotonous count of the passing seconds that offers no relief. It is then that the atmosphere in the room changes. It isn't a sound, but rather a sudden cessation of all sound. The hum of the ventilation system fades. The rhythmic beeping of the monitor seems to dampen, as if submerged in water. The air grows still, incredibly still, and cool against his flushed skin. It feels as though the room has been detached from the rest of the hospital, floating off into a separate, silent vacuum. The boy stops shifting. He lies perfectly still, his eyes tracing the shadows near the door, sensing an arrival before anything is seen. The door does not open further, yet someone is now inside. The figure slipped in between the heartbeats of the room, standing near the foot of the bed. The boy blinks, trying to clear the fog from his eyes. It is a doctor he assumes, for who else would be here at this hour? But this doctor is different. The figure is exceptionally tall, looming nearly to the ceiling tiles. There is no rustle of a lab coat, no hurried energy of rounds being made. There is only profound, encompassing stillness. The boy watches, mesmerized and strangely unafraid. The nurses and the daytime doctors were always buzzing with kinetic energy, checking charts, clicking pens, offering quick smiles before rushing away. This figure is a statue carved from the night itself. The uniform is dark, not the usual starch white or scrub blue, and it seems to absorb the scant light in the room rather than reflect it. It doesn't look like fabric at all, but something seamless and fluid, like deep, quiet water standing upright. The figure moves. It is a slow, deliberate glide from the foot of the bed toward the boy's side. There are no footsteps. The floor does not creak. It is a movement without friction, as if gravity applies differently to this being. The boy's mother does not stir in her chair. Her rhythm of sleep remains unbroken. The arrival is a secret between the boy and this silent visitor. The pain in his side is still there, a hot, tight knot, but his curiosity is beginning to outweigh his discomfort. Now that the figure is closer, the boy tries to see a face. He expects a surgical mask, perhaps glasses reflecting the monitor lights. Instead, he sees a smooth expanse where a face should be. It isn't disturbing like a missing feature, but rather like looking into a deep, calm pool of twilight. It is a surface that suggests depth and infinite patience, a swirling, nebular gray that holds no judging eyes or hurried mouth. It is a visage of pure, restful neutrality. A hand emerges from the dark sleeve. It is long, with slender digits that seem to possess too many joints. Yet the movement is graceful, almost liquid. The hand is the color of pale ceramic, smooth and poreless, glowing with a faint internal luminescence. It reaches toward the boy, moving slowly enough that he could pull away if he wanted to. He doesn't want to. He lies frozen, caught between the throbbing pain in his body and the hypnotic approach of this strange, beautiful hand. The hand gently descends and rests upon the boy's forehead. The touch is shocking, not because it is invasive, but because it is so incredibly cool. It is the coolness of polished stone in a deep cave, the coolness of a mountain stream before sunrise. It is a dry, smooth cold that instantly draws the heat from his feverish skin. The boy lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. His eyes flutter closed. The sensation is overwhelming in its pleasantness. Where the cool hand touches his skin, a new sensation begins to radiate. It starts at his forehead and ripples downward like a wave through water. It is a feeling of profound silencing. The nervous energy in his system, the sharp edges of the pain signals, the generalized ache of trauma, they are all being muted. It feels like a heavy velvet curtain is being drawn across a loud window. The coolness seeps deeper, finding the very roots of his discomfort. The tall doctor does not speak. There are no whispered assurances, no clinical questions. The communication is entirely through this transfer of sensation. The boy feels a hum, a low-frequency vibration that seems to bypass his ears and resonate directly in his bones. It is a lullaby made of pure vibration, a sound that speaks of vast, empty spaces where pain cannot exist. His breathing deepens, matching the slow, unseen rhythm of the visitor. The hand lifts from his forehead, and for a moment, the boy fears the relief will end. But the coolness remains, a lasting imprint. The figure moves its hand down, hovering just above the blankets, directly over the site of the surgery. Even through the layers of sheets and bandages, the boy can feel the presence of that hand. The hot, tight knot in his side begins to unspool. The sharp teeth of the pain are dulled, replaced by a numb, floating sensation. It feels as though the invisible wires carrying pain signals to his brain are being gently disconnected, one by one. The area of the incision, previously a focal point of misery, now feels distant, as if it belongs to a body far away. The boy feels light, almost weightless on the mattress. The heavy anchor of physical suffering has been lifted, and he is drifting upward into a calm, dark sea of comfort. He opens his eyes sleepily to look at the figure again. The swirling nebular face is unchanged, a calming void watching over him. The boy feels a profound sense of gratitude wash over him, a feeling that he projects outward without words. He feels heard. An answering sensation blooms in his chest, a feeling of deep, ancient peace, a calm acknowledgement that says, "You are mending. Rest now." The second doctor remains for what feels like hours, or perhaps only seconds. Time has no meaning in this bubble of calm. The figure stands sentinel, its cool hand hovering, maintaining the field of painless tranquility. The boy's mother sleeps on, undisturbed. The hospital outside this room continues its routines, unaware of the silent intervention taking place within these four walls. The boy is cocooned in a sanctuary of alien grace. Eventually, the hand is withdrawn completely, folding back into the dark, seamless sleeve. The boy feels a momentary sense of loss, but it is quickly replaced by the realization that the pain has not returned. His body feels whole again, knitted together, not just by sutures, but by this strange, cool light. He is tired, but it is a natural, heavy tiredness, not the exhausted fatigue of suffering. The figure steps back from the bed, a slow, gliding retreat. It pauses at the foot of the bed, seemingly regarding its work one last time. The swirling twilight of its face seems to turn toward the window, looking out at the blurred city lights. There is a sense of vast distances in that gaze, of a traveler who has come very far and has very far yet to go. The boy feels a connection to that vastness, a tiny thread linking him to the stars. Then, moving with the same impossible fluidity, the figure retreats toward the door. It does not open the door to leave. Instead, as it reaches the deepest shadows of the corner, it simply begins to dissolve. The dark uniform fades into the darkness of the room. The pale, glowing hands dim until they are gone. It is like watching smoke dissipate in a draft, a gentle erasing of presence, until only the familiar stillness of the hospital room remains. The boy is alone again with his sleeping mother. But the room feels different. The air has returned to its normal temperature. The hum of the ventilation is audible again. But the sense of peace lingers. He lies in the dark, marveling at the absence of pain. He feels clean, reset, as if his body has been given a fresh start. Sleep, real, restorative sleep, is finally calling to him, pulling him down gently. The morning light creeps in, gray at first, then warming to pale gold. Sounds of the hospital waking up drift in from the hallway. The clatter of breakfast carts, louder voices, the shift change. The boy opens his eyes, surprised to find he has slept through the night. His mother is stretching in her chair, looking stiff but relieved to see him awake and clear-eyed. A nurse bustles in, bright and efficient. She checks the machines, takes his temperature, and gently lifts the edge of his bandage. Her eyebrows lift in surprise. "Well," she says, her voice unnecessarily loud in the quiet morning, "look at that. The swelling is down significantly, much faster than we expected. You must be a fast healer." She smiles professionally and makes a note on his chart. The boy looks at his mother, then at the nurse. "It was the other doctor," he says quietly. His voice is raspy from disuse. "The tall one. He came in the night." The nurse pauses, pen hovering over the paper. She exchanges a glance with his mother. "Which doctor, sweetie? Dr. Evans was the one on call last night. Did he come by?" The boy shakes his head slowly. "Not Dr. Evans. The very tall one. The one without a face. He took the pain away." The nurse gives a sympathetic, slightly condescending smile, the kind reserved for children confused by medication. "Oh, honey, that was probably just a dream from the anesthesia. There's no doctor like that here." She pats his hand. But the boy knows. He lies back against the pillows, feeling the truth of it in his healed skin. He knows what he saw, and he knows the tall doctor will return. The discharge from the hospital is a blur of paperwork and wheelchair rides. The automatic doors slide open, and the real world rushes in. The humidity, the traffic noise, the chaotic energy of the midday sun. It feels abrasive after the hushed, climate-controlled twilight of the ward. Sitting in the back seat of his mother's car, the boy watches the city scroll by. He feels like a diver who has returned from the deep ocean, walking on land, but still feeling the pressure of the depths in his bones. He holds his side protectively, though the pain is merely a distant memory, a ghost of a sensation that no longer bites. Arriving home offers a different kind of quiet. His room is exactly as he left it, books stacked on the desk, a half-finished model airplane on the shelf, the bed made with crisp, familiar sheets. Yet, as he steps inside, the space feels smaller, or perhaps he has grown larger. The silence here is empty, unlike the pregnant, living silence the tall doctor commanded. He sits on the edge of his bed, running a hand over the duvet. He is safe here, surrounded by the artifacts of his childhood, but his mind keeps drifting back to the faceless visitor and the cool, blue stillness of the recovery room. The first night home is the hardest. Without the rhythmic beeping of the monitors and the proximity of the nurses, the silence of the house feels heavy. The boy lies in the dark, staring at the familiar cracks in his ceiling. Anxiety begins to prickle at the edges of his mind. What if the pain returns? What if the healing was temporary? He shifts carefully, testing his body. The fear is a tight coil in his chest, keeping sleep at bay. He closes his eyes and tries to summon the memory of the hospital room, trying to reconstruct the feeling of that impossible, soothing cold. As if answering a call, the sensation washes over him again. It is not a physical presence this time. There is no tall figure standing in the corner of his bedroom, but the memory of the touch is so potent it becomes physical. He remembers the cool ceramic hand on his forehead, and his brain releases the same wave of tranquility. The phantom coolness spreads down his spine, untying the knots of anxiety. The room doesn't change, but his perception of it does. The shadows become friendly. The silence becomes a blanket. He realizes that the doctor left something behind, a pathway to peace. Sleep comes easily then, deep and dreamless. He wakes the next morning feeling lighter than he has in years. Recovery becomes a series of quiet days. He spends hours sitting by the window, watching the leaves of the old oak tree in the backyard turn in the wind. He feels a strange kinship with the natural world now, a heightened sensitivity to the slow, rhythmic pulses of life. The sap rising in the trees, the drift of clouds, the lengthening shadows. It is as if the doctor's touch tuned him to a different frequency, one that hums beneath the noise of human activity. He tries to draw the figure once, using charcoal on a sketch pad. He draws the looming height, the seamless dark uniform. But when he tries to draw the face, that swirling, nebular void, the charcoal feels clumsy and inadequate. He smudges the black dust with his thumb, trying to create the effect of depth and twilight, but paper is too flat, too static. He tears the page out and crumples it, not in anger, but in resignation. Some things, he realizes, cannot be captured. They can only be experienced, held in the private gallery of the mind. A week passes. The bandages are removed, revealing a scar that is already fading, a thin, pink line that looks months old rather than days. The doctor at the follow-up clinic is baffled but pleased. "Remarkable resilience," he mutters, checking the chart again. The boy says nothing. He sits on the exam table, his legs dangling, smiling a secret smile. He knows it wasn't resilience. It was an intervention. He doesn't mention the tall visitor again. The truth has become a precious stone he carries in his pocket, too valuable to show to those who wouldn't understand its worth. That night, a summer storm rolls in. Thunder rumbles low in the distance, shaking the window panes in their frames. The air is thick with the scent of ozone and wet earth. The boy loves storms. They remind him of the power of the atmosphere. He sits up in bed, watching the flashes of lightning illuminate the backyard. The world is strobing between intense brightness and absolute pitch black. In one of those flashes, he sees something. A shape standing by the back fence, unmoving in the wind and rain. He presses his face to the cool glass, waiting for the next flash. The rain is coming down in sheets, blurring the world, but the shape remains. It is taller than the fence posts, taller than a man. It stands with that familiar, statuesque stillness, unaffected by the gale whipping the trees around it. It is him, the doctor. But why is he here? The boy feels no fear, only a surge of recognition and a magnetic pull. He wants to go outside, to stand in the rain with the visitor. He stays inside, knowing instinctively that to approach might break the spell. He watches as the figure moves. It is not looking at the house. It is looking down at something on the ground near the roots of the oak tree. The movement is slow, fluid, a stark contrast to the chaotic thrashing of the storm. The figure kneels, a motion of immense grace, and extends a hand toward the earth. A faint, pale blue light begins to glow in the rain, radiating from the figure's palm. The boy watches, breathless. The blue light pulses gently, ignoring the lightning overhead. It seems the doctor is not just a healer of boys, but a healer of things. Perhaps the tree was sick. Perhaps the earth there was wounded. The boy realizes the scope of this being's work is far larger than he had imagined. He is witnessing a maintenance of the world that goes unseen by everyone else, a secret gardening of the planet performed in the cover of storms and darkness. For minutes, the figure tends to the earth. The storm rages on, but around the base of the oak tree, there is a bubble of calm. The wind seems to divert around the kneeling form. Then, the blue light fades. The figure stands up, rising like a shadow lengthening at sunset. It turns slowly, and even through the rain and the distance, the boy feels the gaze of that nebular face. It is looking directly at his window. directly at him. There is no wave, no nod, just a moment of acknowledgement. The connection reestablishes itself. That hum of vibration in the bones, the sudden silencing of the mind. The boy feels the words "rest" now bloom in his chest again, though they are not spoken. It is a permission to sleep, a promise of safety. The figure turns away, stepping into the deepest shadows of the trees, and simply ceases to be there. The rain continues to fall, but the backyard is empty. The boy climbs back into bed. His pajamas are dry. His room is warm. But he feels the echo of the storm and the cool blue light. He understands now that he is not the only patient. The world is full of things that need mending, and the tall doctor is always making rounds. This thought is incredibly comforting. It means that help is never far away, that there are forces of benevolence working silently in the background of reality. He drifts off to the sound of rain drumming a lullaby on the roof. Morning brings a clear, washed clean sky. The sun is brilliant, reflecting off puddles. The boy rushes downstairs and out the back door before breakfast. He runs to the oak tree, his sneakers squelching in the wet grass. He needs to see the spot. He needs proof that it wasn't a dream induced by the storm and his own longing. He reaches the base of the tree and stops. There, where the figure knelt, the evidence is subtle but undeniable. In a perfect circle around the roots, the grass is a different shade. It is a deeper, more vibrant green, shimmering with a faint silvery dust that doesn't melt like frost. The moss on the bark looks revitalized, glowing with health. And the air in that specific spot feels cooler, fresher, as if a pocket of mountain air has been trapped there. The boy reaches out and touches the bark. A faint hum vibrates against his fingertips, a fading echo of the song he heard in the hospital. He stands there for a long time, soaking in the residual energy. He decides then and there to keep this secret too. Who would believe that a faceless giant healed the oak tree during a thunderstorm? It belongs to the secret world, the world of the night. He returns to the house, tracking wet footprints into the kitchen, his heart light and full. He eats his breakfast with a new appetite, feeling connected to the vast, mysterious machinery of the universe. Life returns to its normal cadence. School starts again. The boy navigates the hallways, the lessons, the noise of the cafeteria. He plays with his friends, laughs at their jokes, but he feels a degree of separation. He is an observer now, watching the world with the eyes of someone who knows there is more behind the curtain. When a classmate scrapes a knee or a teacher looks particularly tired, the boy feels a pang of empathy that is sharper than before. He wonders if the doctor will visit them too. This empathy grows. It isn't a burden, but a new sense. He can almost see the static around people who are in pain, a faint, jagged distortion in the air around them. It's not something he sees with his eyes, but feels with his mind. When he sits next to his grandmother, whose hands ache with arthritis, He consciously tries to project that same cool, blue stillness he received. He imagines the blue light flowing from him to her. She sighs, relaxing in her chair. "My hands feel better today," she murmurs. "It must be the weather." The boy realizes he is a conduit. He cannot heal like the tall doctor. He cannot knit flesh or banish agony with a touch. But he can remember the vibration of peace and share a shadow of it. He practices this silent broadcasting on the bus, in the classroom, at the dinner table. Whenever he senses tension, he breathes in deeply, recalls the nebular face and the ceramic hand, and breathes out the calm. It is his small contribution to the doctor's work. Weeks turn into months. The leaves on the oak tree turn gold and fall, covering the circle of silvery grass. The days grow shorter. The long nights are welcome to the boy. He no longer fears the dark. He views it as the doctor's domain. He leaves his curtains open, inviting the starlight in. He often falls asleep watching the sky, half hoping to see a silhouette blotting out the stars, but content just to know it is out there. One evening, while walking his dog along the edge of the woods near his home, the dog stops and whines, staring into the dense brush. The fur on its neck stands up, not in aggression, but in alertness. The boy stops too. The air temperature drops suddenly, the familiar dry coolness wrapping around them. The woods are silent. The crickets have paused their song. The boy peers into the gloom between the pines. He sees nothing but shadows. Yet the presence is undeniable. It is a heavy, watching presence. "Doctor?" he whispers. The wind stirs the pine needles, creating a sound like a long, hushed shh. The sensation of pain relief washes over him, even though he isn't hurting. It feels like a greeting, a spectral wave from a passing ship. The dog relaxes, sitting down and wagging its tail tentatively. They stand there for a moment in the communion of the cold, before the air warms and the crickets resume. That night, the boy dreams vividly. He is not in his bed, but floating in a vast, open space filled with nebular clouds, pinks, purples, and deep indigos. He is weightless. Beside him floats the tall figure. Here, in this realm, the figure does not look alien, it looks at home. They drift together through the star fields without speaking. The boy understands that this is where the doctor comes from, or perhaps this is where the doctor always is, projecting a form down to earth only when needed. He wakes with a new clarity. The experience was more than a dream. It was a lesson. He understands that pain and healing are parts of a larger cycle, as natural as the orbit of planets. He carries the other place within him now. He gets up, pulls the curtains wide to let the moonlight flood the room, and lies back down. He is ready to sleep, knowing that he is watched over, that the universe is kind, and that the doctor from the stars is never truly gone. Time moves differently in the waking world than it does in the doctor's realm, yet it moves all the same. The years drift by like slow-moving clouds across a summer sky. The boy grows taller, his limbs stretching, his features sharpening into adulthood. The scar on his side becomes a faint white whisper on his skin, a permanent reminder of the night the silence came for him. He navigates the turbulence of adolescence with a secret ballast, a center of gravity that others cannot see but instinctively feel. He is a calm point in a spinning world. He does not speak of the tall figure anymore. He learned early on that some truths are too heavy for words, too fragile for the harsh light of conversation. Instead, he carries the memory like a lantern in his chest. It guides his choices. When it comes time to choose a path in life, there is no hesitation. He is drawn back to the hushed corridors, the smell of antiseptic, the rhythmic beeping of monitors. He enters medical school, not to conquer death, but to curate peace. The library at the university becomes his sanctuary. Late at night, when the stacks are deserted and the silence is thick with the scent of old paper, he feels closest to the presence. He studies the anatomy of the human body, the bones, the nerves, the delicate pathways of blood, and he marvels at the complexity. But he also looks for the spaces between. He looks for the energy that animates the clay, the subtle electricity that the tall doctor seemed to manipulate with such effortless grace. There are nights when the stress of the curriculum feels like a physical weight. The volume of information is a crushing tide. On one such night, his head resting on his arms, overwhelmed by exhaustion, the change happens. The air in the library aisle grows still. The hum of the fluorescent lights dies away. The familiar, dry coolness settles over his shoulders like a heavy cloak. He does not lift his head. He doesn't need to look to know he is not alone. The doctor does not touch him this time. The lesson has evolved. Instead, the presence simply stands there, radiating that profound, nebular stillness. It is a reminder. You know how to access this. You are part of the silence. The young man breathes in the cool air. He visualizes the blue light in his own mind, sweeping away the panic, organizing the chaos of his thoughts. His heart rate slows. When he finally lifts his head, the aisle is empty, but his mind is crystal clear, the anxiety washed away. He moves into his clinical rotations. The hospital environment is chaotic, loud, and often harsh. But he moves through it with a different cadence. He is the intern who never runs, yet always arrives on time. He is the one who speaks in a lower register, whose mere entry into a room seems to dial down the volume of the machinery. Patients gravitate toward him. They claim that when he checks their vitals, their pain recedes just a fraction, that his hands are unusually cool and soothing. He begins to see the static clearly now. It hovers over the beds of the restless, a jagged, invisible distortion of the air. He develops a technique. Before he enters a room, he pauses at the door, closes his eyes for a microsecond, and calls the stillness. He imagines opening a door to that dark, starry void he visited in his dream. He brings the atmosphere of the other place into the room with him. It is his secret medicine, administered without a prescription. One rainy Tuesday, during the graveyard shift, the ward is particularly restless. A storm is battering the glass, and the pressure changes are making the patients ache. In room 304, an elderly man is thrashing, lost in the confusion of a high fever. The sedatives aren't working fast enough. The nurses are worried. The young doctor steps in. "Let me try," he says softly. The nurses step back, making way for his quiet confidence. He approaches the bed. The air is thick with the heat of the fever and the jagged static of distress. He does not check the chart. He simply stands by the bedside and places his hand on the man's shoulder. He doesn't just touch, he anchors. He imagines himself as a lightning rod, grounding the man's chaotic energy into the earth. He remembers the oak tree. He remembers the ceramic hand. He projects the thought: coolness, silence, space. At first, nothing happens. Then, the familiar drop in temperature occurs. It isn't just the young doctor doing it this time. He feels a sudden reinforcement, a massive amplification of his effort. The shadows in the corner of the room deepen, stretching upward, defying the geometry of the walls. A second presence has entered the room. The young doctor does not look. He focuses on the patient, but he smiles internally. The cavalry has arrived. The elderly man stops thrashing. His breathing hitches, then smooths out into a long, slow rhythm. The heat seems to evaporate from his skin, replaced by a restful cool. The monitor's erratic beeping settles into a steady, hypnotic pulse. The nurses in the doorway exchange glances, amazed. They didn't see the shadow in the corner. They only saw the young doctor's calming touch. But the doctor feels the tall figure standing just behind his right shoulder, a silent partner in the healing. The presence lingers until the patient is in a deep, restorative sleep. Then, with that characteristic dissolution, the pressure in the room lifts. The shadow retreats into the ordinary darkness. The young doctor removes his hand. He feels drained but exhilarated. It is the first time they have worked together. He realizes that his life is not just about healing alone. It is about being a bridge between the human world and that vast, benevolent force. He becomes a legend in the hospital, though a quiet one. They call him the Whisperer. They say he has the magic touch. He never corrects them, never explains. He simply works his shifts, moving through the nights like a sentinel. He walks the halls when others are sleeping, ensuring the veil of peace remains intact. He knows that he is merely the apprentice, the ground crew for the true specialist who visits from the stars. Years turn into decades. The young doctor becomes an older doctor. His hair turns silver, matching the starlight he loves to watch. The hospital changes. New technology, new wings, but the essence remains the same. Pain is universal, and the need for peace is eternal. He mentors younger students now, teaching them not just the science, but the art of presence. Listen to the silence, he tells them. Sometimes the cure is in the quiet. He still sees the tall figure, though less frequently now. It appears only at the most critical moments, at the turning of the tides. Sometimes he sees it standing by a window on the oncology ward. Sometimes he glimpses it in the nursery, watching over a premature infant. They never speak. A nod, a sensation of cool approval is all that passes between them. They are old colleagues now, veterans of the night shift. One autumn evening, the doctor finishes his final round. He is retiring. He packs his office, the stethoscope, the framed degrees, the small, smooth stone he keeps on his desk. He feels a heavy nostalgia, a sense of an era ending. He walks out to the parking lot, the air crisp and smelling of fallen leaves. He looks up at the sky, searching for the familiar constellations. He drives home, not to the house of his childhood, but to a small cottage he bought near the sea. He needs the sound of the ocean. It reminds him of the nebular waves in the doctor's face. He settles into a rhythm of retirement, gardening, reading, walking the beach. But he keeps his senses open. He knows the work is never truly done. The world is always breathing, always needing. The ocean at night is a mirror of the cosmos. He walks the shoreline, listening to the crash and drag of the water. One night, the fog rolls in, thick and white, swallowing the moon. The world shrinks to a gray sphere around him. In the distance, down the beach, he sees a faint blue glow. It is not a lighthouse. It is not a ship. It is a stationary, vertical luminescence standing near the water's edge. He walks toward it, his boots sinking into the wet sand. He knows who waits for him. As he gets closer, the form resolves. The doctor is standing on the sand, the dark, seamless uniform unaffected by the sea spray. The swirling face looks out at the ocean, watching the tides. The figure seems taller than ever, vast as a monument. The doctor stops a few feet away, leaning on his walking stick. "I retired," the man says to the silence. "But I suppose you never do." The figure turns its head. The sensation that washes over the man is not just peace this time. It is gratitude. It is a profound, resonating thank you that vibrates in every cell of his body. It is an acknowledgement of a lifetime of service, a partnership recognized across species and stars. The tall doctor raises a hand, pointing not at the man, but at the horizon, where the sea meets the sky. The fog begins to clear in that one spot, revealing a corridor of stars. It is an invitation to see, really see, the scope of things. The man looks. He sees the connections between all living things, the web of light that binds the patient to the healer, the tree to the earth, the star to the observer. For a moment, the man feels young again. The ache in his knees, the stiffness in his back, it all dissolves in the presence of that cosmic view. He stands in the cool blue light, breathing in the salt and the stardust. He realizes that he has been a doctor of the body, but this entity is a doctor of the soul, of the universe's very fabric. And for a brief time, he was allowed to hold the instruments. The vision fades. The fog rolls back in, soft and damp. The tall figure is gone. There was no goodbye, because there is no leaving. They are part of the same frequency now. The man turns and walks back toward his cottage, his path lit by the moon, which has just broken through the clouds. He feels lighter, unburdened by the weight of the years. He enters his home, shakes the sand from his boots, and makes a cup of tea. He sits in his armchair by the window. The house is quiet, but it is a full, rich silence. He thinks of the boy he was, the scared child in the hospital bed, and he sends a thought of comfort back through time to him. It will be okay, he thinks. You are in good hands. He is tired now, a good, heavy tiredness. He sets the cup down. Outside, the ocean continues its rhythmic breathing, in and out, in and out. The world turns, the stars watch. And somewhere, in a room where the shadows are long and someone is in pain, a door is opening, and a cool, blue stillness is stepping inside. The work continues. The doctor closes his eyes and drifts into the waiting arms of sleep. As the old doctor sleeps in his seaside cottage, the narrative of his life gently closes its covers. But the story of the night doctor does not end. It merely shifts location. The tall, silent figure is not bound by the laws of physics or the limitations of geography. At the very moment the old man's breathing evens out into the rhythm of rest, the figure is already moving across the face of the waters, gliding over the dark, rolling waves of the Atlantic, a shadow swifter than the wind, seeking the next beacon of need. In a high-rise apartment in a bustling metropolis, a woman paces the floor, her mind racing with the worries of tomorrow. The city outside is a canyon of orange light and noise. She stops by the window, pressing her forehead against the glass. She does not see the figure standing on the balcony, merging with the shadows of the steel beams. She only feels the sudden drop in temperature. The frantic static of her thoughts is abruptly silenced. A wave of cool, blue tranquility washes over her. She sighs, her shoulders dropping, and turns off the light, finally ready to rest. Deep in a forest, on the other side of the world, a deer lies injured in the bracken. The woods are quiet. The figure appears between the ancient trunks of the trees, a guardian of the wild. It kneels on the moss, the movement fluid and reverent. The pale, glowing hand extends, hovering over the frightened animal. The fear dissolves. Pain is replaced by a numbness, a floating sensation. The forest seems to lean in, the leaves whispering their approval. Healing is a language spoken in every dialect, by every species. This is the secret machinery of the night. While the sun governs the day with its harsh clarity and demands, the night brings the mending. It is a time when the tall doctors, perhaps there is one, perhaps there are legions, walk the earth. They are the unseen stitching that holds the fabric of the world together. They patrol the corridors of hospitals, the quiet suburban streets, the lonely farmhouses, ensuring that pain does not have the final word. They are the stewards of the silence. And now, the figure comes to you. Imagine the room you are in. The shadows in the corner are not empty. They are protective. The air is cooling, settling into a comfortable, dry stillness. The noise of your day, the conversations, the screens, the lists, is being drawn away, absorbed into the seamless dark uniform of the visitor. You are safe here. You are the patient now, and the treatment is simple, profound rest. Feel the weight of the day lifting off your chest. Visualize that cool, ceramic hand hovering just above your forehead. It does not need to touch you to work. Feel the vibration of peace, the low-frequency hum that resonates in your bones, telling your muscles to let go. Unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders. Let your legs become heavy. The blue light is flowing through you, a river of calm, washing away the debris of worry. The doctor is watching over you, standing sentinel until the morning comes. There is nothing left to do. The world is being taken care of. The trees, the oceans, the cities, and you, all are held in the vast, benevolent gaze of the universe. The pain is gone. The noise is silenced. You are drifting in the nebular void, weightless and free. Sleep now, deep, restorative sleep. The tall doctor will be here when you wake, or perhaps he will be gone, but the peace he leaves behind will remain. Good night.